actually watched a CSI last night, and I didn't find it convincing.
That's how it is. Here we go. Hi, what's up on a groove on an old soul tune? I watch the pin move to shape the breakthroughs. Who makes moves, maneuver in the right direction? The rest of you get left behind and messed up in this session.
Welcome everyone to Drunkcast Live, episode 69.
Yay!
Coming to you from Don's Depot here in lovely Austin, Texas. Drunkcast is a podcast that is recorded in bars and restaurants all over the world someday, but it's in Austin right now. We're at Don's, and I have three awesome people on the panel. I have Adam across from me.
I'm Adam. Hi.
Next to him, I have Dylan coming back from a terrible ailment. Welcome back to the show. I'm sorry you still feel like cedar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Sorry. And then we have someone coming back on the show for some time. We're very excited to have him back on the show. His name is Ben. Can I say your last name? Is that
Always.
Ben Hellman?
It's all one word.
It is all one word. You're the Bill Murray of our group, really.
That's how Texas handles Ben Hellman.
Yes.
By always referring to him with both names.
No, it's actually been happening all my life, and but usually in anger.
I found myself
Benny Hells,
I found
get over
myself
here.
occasionally, like when something goes wrong and I don't know why, and I will always say, "What the Ben Hellman?" Like, what the Ben Hell, man?
Or just like, no, that was, I just totally Ben Hellman this up. This could only be a Ben Hellman way of doing things.
That's to do something with an aplomb, right?
I always fit it in whenever I say, "What the hell?"
Right.
What the hell, man? Yeah.
So I'm sorry for appropriating your name.
Bindi Hellman.
That was
I don't deserve
that
it.
was approaching amusing.
It was, but then I lost it.
You
So
ate-
close.
You got
So
you're very John Ailey right there. Very John Ailey.
Anyway, Arcade Fire.
Arcade Fire.
Twinkle, twinkle.
Arcade.
Here's December. So Ben, you've been on the show a little bit. We like to do something for people who have not listened to anything that we've ever done before, and say like a sentence or something. Well, what is your movie title, or what would you? If someone was going to listen to you and say, "Hey, I trust that guy."
What's on your CV?
What's on your CV? Yeah.
Thanks for not in any way preparing me for this question.
Just an intro. Who are you? Why are you a human? You know.
Let's skip over that one. Jesus. This is not the right week to ask me about that one. I got fired on my first day of work on Monday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yes.
I'm proud of you.
But we'll talk about that. I don't know. Maybe an extra-sode.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was most curious about hobbies and stuff and where you came from. And
Yeah.
like you're in the Navy, I hear on the grapevine.
I hear
For
tell.
example. Yeah.
The kids say.
Being crossword puzzles, reads a lot of newspapers. Smart guy.
Yeah, please. Actually, that's
Listen to
even
T
better.
Radio.
When other people distill me into like chunks. There's a magazine.
I gave you the option to do it yourself.
There was a magazine called Chunklet, and I met the publisher, main guy, Henry Owings, one time in Atlanta before I started writing for them, and he goes, I ran into it in the post office in Little 5 Points, and I introduced myself. He goes, "Oh, you're Eric's friend." He goes, "You have red hair, tattoos, you wear glasses, and you were in the Navy." And basically, 3 of those things were evident by looking at me, right? But then the last one, he'd be like, "And you were in the Navy," and those were apparently the relevant facts about me.
Sure.
Like, so I
Actually, I have a new relevant fact.
What's the
about
opposite
you.
of a mnemonic
I can tell
device?
people-
well, no, it's a visual aid, but
Right,
yeah, but
right,
by having the person in front of you,
It's like,
yeah,
yeah.
Who was that guy? Oh,
My new
he's got
descriptor review
glasses.
2 eyes and nose.
is he listens to 2 radio stations at once. Whenever he's at home working on stuff, he listens to 2 radios.
Hey,
at
Benny
once.
Two Raids,
Been 2 station.
Benny Two Stage.
Mr.
That-
Mustache.
Hey, that's just how I do. I like to be overinformed.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
I like to have.
To be unable to discern any of it at one time.
But also, they're both Boston NPR stations, so I'm getting not even like 2 sides of the coin. I'm getting the coin, like just like I'm
the
getting
entire Bitcoin.
I'm just getting the front,
The whole-
you know.
the whole, yeah, Bitcoin.
I'm getting the Doge coin. Yeah.
It sounds wicked hard.
Wicked hard. It's wicked hard to listen to all those assholes. Anyway, please, we're gonna have to edit this part out because that's useless.
Oh no, that's coming in. It's great. It's
Okay.
wonderful.
It's useless.
It's useless.
Dylan, how was your last week? You weren't here, and I'm sorry for you not being here.
Yeah. Well, I've determined that, we have some doctors listening to the show.
Sure.
So,
We're big in the allergists.
well, I don't know if anyone specializes in allergies or not, but if they do, or even if they're just doctors,
If they know someone,
I think at this
Ale
point,
Meadows.
and if you can find them.
the amount of medication I take currently either proves one of 2 things. One, over-the-counter medication is all placebos,
Sure.
and I want to form a class action lawsuit and get some money for that.
Okay.
Or I'm a medical mutant who needs to be studied.
That's probably
So-
the latter is probably
I
true.
think
in this
it's
case.
a lack of seafood in your diet that keeps you.
No.
Scientifically, I would go ahead and say, without any evidence whatsoever, that
No,
that's
because
probably
there's
true.
no ocean anywhere near Austin.
Are you following? Are you following the directions?
Let's see.
They're on the back of the bottle for a reason.
Ingest.
Not everything is
Check.
anally
Well,
introduced to your
how many
system.
did you ingest? Because like a lot of those allergy ones are like you take one, even
No.
if you're an adult big guy, you take one.
My average is right now this week is 10 Benadryl a day and 5 Zyrtec D a day.
Well, he's also doing CrossFit, so that counteracts a lot of shit right there.
CrossFit's hard, man.
It is. It's
kill
really
it.
hard on the
Yeah.
system.
Apparently, it paralyzes you too.
You know what it eats? Antihistamines.
Yeah, exactly.
Just eats them up.
Yeah.
There's your problem. CrossFit.
Yeah, well, I have many problems with CrossFit.
Kettlebell. That's your problem right there.
Yeah. It starts with the
Your
kettlebell,
problem
ends with
was
a
a
tire.
22,000 pollen count, like highest on record.
Yeah.
Okay,
in
so
certain areas.
Actually, Jeff Angus, that was one of the things. Last week, we saw that everybody was succumbing to
Misery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the greatest things. I've been here 6 years in the lovely city of Austin. I haven't left by law, and every year,
Something else in your bio.
It's
You missed
cedar
the opportunity.
season, and everybody says, "Oh man, cedar fever," and then I say, "Well, I'm not getting it," and they say, "Oh, how long you been here?" Right, and it's always and no matter like how long I've been here, it's always 1 year more. Like, oh yeah, wait, it'll be the 2-year mark. Trust me, And then it's like, how long you been here? Oh, 3 years. Oh, yeah,
4 years.
the fourth year. You definitely get it. 6 years, still no.
That's
I'm
bullshit.
not allergic to anything.
Yeah.
I have enough other problems in my life for let allergies get in the way.
Sure.
But Angus, we saw that, and everybody's complaining about that, and he said, yeah. No cedar fever. Fuck you, everybody else in Austin. Like every other person in the city of Austin.
Yeah, I mean, like it affects me. My nose currently, does not actually function fully right now. It's bad.
That's why you fucked up that bloodhound caper last night.
I did.
Jesus,
I know.
That's
I
why-
told you don't make me the bloodhound, but you're like, no, man, it's your turn.
Well, you are lowest to the
And-
ground. So.
I am lowest to the ground.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. I guess, but
You
it
think?
has been.
Hey, that was a cool dozen we could have cleared. A cool dozen
yeah.
of loonies.
Yeah.
And I fucked it all up. Great. Cedar is bad. Mold is bad. These are both bad for me. I've been here like 15 years.
Well, okay, so
And-
how was it while you were, because earlier today you were at the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah.
Right, and that takes place predominantly out in the woods in
Very much
very
so.
deep East Texas. Was it better there than it was in Austin? I mean,
No.
Yeah, okay.
I had a pill available to me.
Oh, sure.
And so I took a pill and
Molly,
that helped.
yeah.
And did your tunic have warding properties at all?
I didn't have to dress. It was move-in weekend, so
Oh, sure.
I was not in garb.
You didn't at least wear the ring? I mean, at least one ring.
I have a ring.
I caught that on your
I'm married.
Facebook. I thought maybe you weren't going to be here. That made me sad.
Well, I made it here for you.
Thank you.
Even though I didn't know you were going to be here until 5 minutes before you showed up.
Hey.
So I'm very excited.
Oh, that's
you're
another fact about me. I'm a shadowy, lurking character.
here. Who's in the Navy?
Navy, shadow. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Red
sure.
hair, tattoos, glasses, in the Navy, shadowy, lurking character.
No fixed address.
Yeah. Unaffected by allergens. But I will say, like, this year.
man.
Naturally,
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
that guy, yeah. Red hair, naturally unaffected by.
But I will say that this year is the first year I have not had to actually be like. There's been usually twice a year. I will have to literally actually call in sick. Like I can't go to work. I can't function. It's so bad.
That's just hangovers for me.
mine's
But
just
I
gotten-
have excuses. I got
mine's-
prickly heat in my asshole. I can't come in today.
This year
because they're
it's-
never going to
it's
repeat
been-
that to anybody else. All right, you take care of that.
So I
It's
think
a
I'm building
Loderman.
up a tolerance for it. Just because I haven't actually had to take off work because of it.
Sure.
It is, however, debilitatingly high,
Sure,
and it
sure.
affects people and me.
How's the rent fare? You drink, I'm sure.
I drank a lot, even.
How was it
today.
different from the other ones?
All the sex.
Just the orgies.
Jesse.
The bacchanalia was out of control.
Justin Orgy was there?
Just an orgy.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's so great on the mandolin.
He's actually the Miami alternative to Bieber. Justin
Yeah.
Rosie. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all that mosquito.
No, it was all just basically set up. Like we set up the clan area and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
so
sure,
at the end.
sure.
The Klan area.
We have a clan.
Yeah. That Renaissance Festival is special in that way. That they actually have an
Perma-camping,
area,
baby.
a perma-camping area where you can pay a little bit extra, like for the year, to be able to just put your stuff down. So if you go do the Ren Fair thing and you want to go get trashed and then crawl out to a campsite, then it's there forever.
I think this actually makes me appreciate anime fans a little bit more because they do that stuff inside convention centers where there's air conditioning and they have maid cafes.
Well, it's just walls, you know. What's the difference between a Ren Fair camping area?
It's just walls, man.
it's just walls. buddy.
Cedar content. That's pretty much the difference.
Well, sure. It gets inside too. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Well, there's more oak out there.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Let's go and take our first break.
Whoa.
We're going to get another beer, and that's it. We'll be back.
Butts.
And we'll get butts. We'll get more butts.
And the night's new, what a feeling, what a nice move.
Pitter pat. Arcade fire. And then
I got my old soul shoes, tripping on this deep groove. And the night's new, what a feeling, what a nice move. Boom, boom, bam, boom, box. We're here to rock you.
Welcome back to the show.
Twinkle,
Segment
twinkle.
two. Twinkle, twinkle, arcade. This week has been interesting. A bunch of different ways. You know, it would really be stupid of us to not try to talk about it a little bit more, because I really didn't know if you, Ben, were going to be coming and hanging out with us tonight. So
when you make a drunken request and I make a drunken promise,
That's a bond for life.
it's a good. It's a good.
There's a 20% keep ratio.
Right. It's
Booze
a
friends
it's
forever,
It's a
yeah.
good 20-80 chance, you know. So
I like them odds. Now let's take oh wait, no, you got a shot coming. I'll wait for the shot. Yeah, so you know, I figured to probably talk a little bit more about politics, but like I said before, the show actually has gotten into alien territory without really
A lot
meaning to. It's really the last 3
recently.
weeks.
It's
That's
kinda
just
bad.
Adam's fault.
It must be the year or the new year.
Yes, 2014 is our year for the aliens,
It's not me.
especially the tall whites.
People keep bringing it up.
Alien privilege.
the tall whites. What the hell does that
Yeah,
mean?
Adam, you want to do a little
No,
cover of this?
Do a recap, please, because I have no idea what's going
Every
on.
one of these fucking things is so stupid.
You're our alien correspondent. I mean,
I didn't want to be.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so
check your CV.
For a while there, a semi-official Russian news source was stating that Edward Snowden had blown the lid off of alien interactions with the United States and amongst other countries
Right.
and whatnot. And these aliens are apparently known as tall whites.
Tall whites. Tall whites.
The tall whites. And then there was a
The Winklevosses. Yeah.
yeah.
Bringing new technology.
Yeah.
And then of course the Jew fucking steals it. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now you're sinning. Now you're fucking sinning.
And the tall whites. Wow. Tall whites being implicated, of course, with the Nazis.
I didn't know my mom
Yeah.
would be around this week. I'm sorry,
and
guys. I
had-
told her to wait in the car, but
She apparently figured out the lock.
I know.
It's been,
She basically got the mittens off. She got the mittens off. And,
The good shot showed up with sickies.
I had duct taped the door, but
Gotta watch the feet, man.
hey, she didn't raise no dummy.
Get your shoes off.
so their big concern was the tall whites were also a big player at the early dawn of the National Socialist Party in Germany
Right.
back in the day.
I don't see a connection.
Yeah.
Right.
Edward
Anyway,
Snowden.
so
Snowden. Jesus.
So move just
Nordic
a half,
Thunder, yeah.
Move just a half a step forward and realize that this news source is in fact not official at all,
Right.
and it's just kind of a crackpot horseshit show.
Oh.
And,
Which is a bummer because
Oh, was it Infowars?
No, it was a Russian. It's the Russian.
It was
Infowars.
RT.com. It was Russian state.
Yeah,
Maybe Alexei Jones.
It was Algeria.
Alexei Jonas.
Jonas.
It was John X.
Anyway, turns
Alexei
out
Jonovich.
nothing
I
that
just
Edward
did that.
Snowden has leaked has actually pointed in any capacity to actual aliens, much less anything referred to as tall whites.
Which is a bummer, because
Which is a bummer. I mean, that would have made things really interesting, except that
it's
my
good movie material.
maybe
my
it's
too.
universal algorithm for things being interesting, obviously,
Right.
this exceeds that
we-
capability.
we can make a remake
Maybe
of-
it's an idiomatic expression that, in Russian, literally means metadata gathering. And then, but when you transliterate it back
Blanket
to English, it's like it means
metadata
tall
gathering.
whites, and you're just like, what the hell is this? Yeah.
What the fuck are they
Oh,
talking
this
about?
guy's got to be aliens.
Click-throughs. What's a click-through in Russian? Yeah, well, this is part of a 3-part segment, or section that we've had in the show, where, because last week was aliens. We were
Yeah.
talking about Obama and conspiracy and how. No, that was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago was
the Obama, like
the wag the dog.
They thought that, or somebody, that guy, that idiot, thought that Obama would announce
Chris Christie. Yeah.
Chris Christie's interactions with aliens in order to divert attention from something else.
Right.
And then last week was the Canadian somebody
yes,
who
the
said that the
ex-Canadian-
aliens, the ex-Canadian super leader guy or whatever, said the aliens would give us better technology if we would get rid of our nukes.
Right, because the nuke is because we have nukes
That the
the
aliens-
rest of
yeah.
the cosmos is unhappy with Earth, of course, which makes sense.
No, it's this is the concept that why there are very few
Or
reporting.
Grable 537, as known by the rest of the universe.
Here's the concept there are very few reportings of demonic possession or visitations by angels or
Sure.
anything like that, because that was the framework that people had in the olden days, and then
Like the 50s.
right, but that's why you hear people talk more about aliens than about
Right, it's just
being
it's happening
visited by
a
God.
whole lot.
But,
right
and,
now.
but that exact
Yeah.
message, though, clean up your act, or we're not going to come give you all the toys.
Yeah,
is
sure.
the exact same thing about like, hey, be
Sure.
nice to each
Sure.
other.
The golden rule: get rid
So-
of your nukes, so we can have interstellar
basically,
transport.
So he's a chaotic good schizoid.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, eventually it's going to work out for us. John Titor, if you're listening, if you're still around.
If the tall whites haven't gotten you.
I think the tall whites thing is great, man.
did-
Especially the picture with him in
Yeah.
the Nazi goggles and just like super futuristic,
Yeah.
but not futuristic. And
You mean Scandinavians? Like,
well, I
Hey,
mean,
say what you will about Nazi goggles, but they help me look more efficiently.
wait, it make,
Much more efficiently.
much more efficiently. Okay, so it helps you look,
Yeah.
not look efficient.
That was,
it helps Ben Hellman build an empire.
was the Onion back in the 90s about how President Clinton had announced that children in America need to develop better looking skills. That's why television's so important. It helps them develop good looking skills.
Good looking skills.
There's some other stuff in this segment too, specifically for things that are not related to aliens. But
Finally,
what other silly
God.
stuff happened this week?
Charo turned 63. God bless her.
Well, good on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's Charo, man.
Charo. You don't know who Charo is? I saw that look
I
on
know
your
who
face.
I know who Charo
Well, you never
is.
saw the Love Boat in your life.
No. What I was just
It
determining
was
was
the only reason to watch The Love Boat.
Yeah.
I had been watching
come
on
on.
Netflix the Don't Trust the Bitch in Apartment 23 show.
Yeah.
The bee.
the bee in the
Oh,
Actually,
sorry, the bee.
I started watching that a couple days ago. It's actually pretty good.
It's actually pretty good.
I've been enjoying it, and then the
Oh,
last
isn't that
the
Paget, Paget Brewster? Is that who's in it?
No.
Is that
no, it's
well, it
that
was-
would be James Vanderbeek.
No. Who's the star of that
I,
show?
I can't remember her name ever, but she was in Breaking Bad.
Kristen
as
Ritter is the
Kristen Ritter.
black-haired girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Kristen Ritter
Anyway,
as the
lol.
aforementioned.
What
bee.
I was just going back to is the latest episode that I had watched this past week, late in the night while I did a bunch of work I didn't have to do.
Naturally. It's the last episode of the season, actually.
She spent the entire episode trying to get Charo tickets.
Yeah.
It actually,
it's
I
a
like
spirit
the way
animal.
that you say episode, because that means is that actually a word, or are you just saying episode?
It's an episode of the show.
I think he's been
that I
around
was
his
watching.
wife too long.
No, because like episode would be a
Dragons,
great
right?
concept for like for basically never delivering to anybody what they've actually paid for on the Play
Like an
Store.
apathetic
Yeah, no,
episode?
it's an episode.
Oh.
Like no,
Oh,
you'll get it.
because I made an A sound at the beginning.
You're paying for
I
a
see.
subscription to the app.
Sorry.
You're not going to get the whole thing.
Episode.
Okay.
Not at once.
Episode.
You've said
Thank you.
episode as
Sorry.
long as I've known you.
I have. I will say it like that forever.
That's fine.
I'm
it's
a
fine.
broken idiot.
I don't pronounce the aspirant H in Houston, huge,
Herb.
humongous. I don't.
Humongous.
People always and people make fun of me all the time about that, and it's like, well, I grew up in Pittsburgh, and
All the time?
yeah, well,
For the record, I don't make fun of you for that.
thank you, but many people do, and they do it even after they know that I've explained
That you're not from these parts.
right, and then I will say huge because it's huge. There's no huge, and it's not Houston. It's Houston, and actually because
For the record, there's H's in all of those things.
But there's also right outside of Pittsburgh. There's a little suburb, Houston, Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
And that's how we pronounce it. It's Houston. And this notion that that even after I've explained to you, I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, and I have not lived in Texas, but
St. Petersburg.
6 of my long 40 years. I'm not gonna. I did change one thing about my accent or my idiomatic phrases. I don't say pop anymore.
You say
because-
Coke now?
because
No, it's a big step.
Nobody here's going to know what
Doesn't
you're
even
talking
fucking
about
idea
when
what
you
I'm
say
talking
that.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't say tennis shoes. I say sneakers or whatever the fuck people say down here.
Oh, is that?
It's pretty.
Tennis shoes was what it was.
Is
in
that
Pittsburgh.
geographically specific? Tennis
Yeah.
shoes? Really?
Tennis shoes.
Yeah.
No,
That's actually one of the
here-
questions on the what region are you from?
Yeah,
Test.
yeah.
It's like, do you call it tennis shoes?
They
or do
always
you call
say I'm from New England. I don't.
You have a more of a Midwestern accent, I would think. Like it's
It's,
flat. It's what they call standard American.
Yeah,
I'm
like-
not kidding. It's
yeah.
actually like there's,
Yeah.
like,
Here's
there's
the
actually
test.
a record that you can find on the Smithsonian,
Like Alec Baldwin.
the Smithsonian Institute website. There was a series of records that came out under this label called Folkways, and then the Smithsonian Institute bought them all. There was it was a lot of stuff that would be documentary records, essentially, things that would just record what people like folk songs and record like children playing homemade tambourines. I can't even explain
Sure,
this. Yeah, but
sure.
like cigar box guitars and shit like that.
Yeah,
It was
garage
just-
band theremins.
It was basically like
Yeah.
it was a part of American history, especially like around the 50s and 60s when we were trying to document America as it was at that point. And there was actually
which was awful, apparently.
well.
hey, just ask the Eisenhowers. So
There was a lot of
there was,
butterscotch and Jim Crow laws.
there was that. Yeah.
Jim Crow.
I hear it wasn't so great for a lot of
Things
people.
were perfect.
Yeah, I hear it wasn't so great for a lot of people.
Hey guys, hey, check your white privilege. We can't talk about that.
But there was
Republican ideal.
there's actually a record in the
We'll call it Arizona.
Folkways series about how to. It was made for teachers, elementary school teachers, to teach their children how to speak.
Right.
And how they were trying to standardize American English because there are all these regional, these regional accents. But they call it like either. I mean, now it's called like newscaster English,
yeah. Non-geographically specific.
and you
yeah.
you would definitely have that.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah. well, that
here's
is
Adam with
interesting.
sports.
Right.
Here's the test for the Midwestern accent. It's like say the word that's spelled with B-A-G.
Bag.
Thank you.
Not
See,
not
like,
bag.
whereas my wife,
Or beg.
from the Midwest, from Wisconsin, always says beg,
Yeah.
and there's no e in it. There's not, and
But
she
yeah,
can't say
it's-
dragon. She can't say anything with that.
Dragon.
But that's
right?
all. I mean, that's all basically because of
Eisenhower.
the people who are settling those areas. So there's I mean,
A lot of
Germans and Nordics.
Yeah.
Nordic Thunderies and
Nordic Thunderies.
that's the thing.
the Nordic Thunder.
He speaks Thunderies.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of that stuff is artificial. I mean, the newscaster
think
English or newscaster American accent is almost the same as
It's actually defined. It's-
what they call the received accent in Britain, where they don't pronounce the R.
A non-rhotic.
The
dialect.
non-rhotic R, exactly. Yeah, and that was actually that was an affectation. That was not just something that just kind of happened. It became a status symbol. And actually, when I was a kid, I had a heavy Pittsburgh accent. You don't pronounce the long I. This is fascinating to everybody if you're all into
Thanks, great.
linguistics. But I
We
used
have a
to say
lot of fans from Oklahoma City. So
the I sound in tiger was pronounced tagger. And actually, Dennis Miller has a very pretty. Maybe he's changed it, but when I know about 20 years ago, when he was still doing stand up, he had a pretty good Pittsburgh accent where he would say like Dan Tan or Dan instead of
sure.
down.
Sure,
and there's the things that are very very Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
and it has to do with regional isolation, that kind of stuff, and but now that we all watch television and we all listen to Rihanna.
Yeah.
You know,
We all
know-
speak very naturally.
Naturally.
Yes,
In front of camera.
precisely.
We literally
We
literally
literally?
speak very naturally.
with comfort and ease. Actually, one of the things that I would say during the the president, I don't want to. I hate whenever you hear anybody call into a talk show and say, "Well, you know what Obama said," it sounds
Right.
like they're angry. So it's like I have to say the president.
El Presidente.
Mr.
What-
Obama or
what,
President.
what the president said yesterday about when he was making his announcement about the reforms that would be made.
Actually, I definitely want to talk about that in a second.
I caught.
So,
Well, okay, but then this goes on the linguistics though. He kept saying the word He kept saying the word transparent as transparent,
oh, yeah.
which that was the only thing it kept distracting me from what he was saying.
Right.
What does he really mean? It's not transparent enough.
It's
Parents of a transgender,
It's
yeah.
transparency.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's transparency, not transparency.
Parents.
All right.
Maybe he's saying like that on purpose, so when he gets called on something else later on, he goes, "No, what I said was."
You know what? Hawaiians don't understand, man. Hawaiians.
They don't even speak English.
You want to be all alone? Why don't you go to one of them
Hey,
islands?
mahalo, Mr. President. Mahalo.
Yeah, mahalo. Just saying.
Hi.
Mahalo. Yeah. Let's take our next break.
I want to be clear.
Oh, we got another shot.
And what is Miley Cyrus's tongue doing these days?
Welcome back to the show.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, it's time for a smoke break.
Well, hey, welcome back. We'll be right back.
For a smoke break.
As part of our mailer, a lot of stuff came through, a lot of things that are important and not really that important.
No.
But there was one story that reminded me, I did not hear about this case until I saw it on Ben Hellman's Facebook post, the affluenza defense.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I just found it. I have a chip on my shoulder about rich people.
Right.
It has to go. Oh, and when I tell you about me getting fired this week,
Yeah.
I realized it too. He's a fucking bully.
I am not.
No, not you.
As he
The
points at me.
guy who fired you.
Yeah.
Is a fucking
Yeah,
bully.
the points aren't always accusatory. They're sometimes it's more like remember that
Gesticulate. Yes.
that dude.
Gesticulation.
And, and I'm just grateful I can extend a finger and also have a closed fist at the same time. It is a beautiful thing.
And you
Yeah.
make a handgun.
Oh, pistol fingers.
Pistol fingers.
Obama's going to outlaw pistol fingers soon too. Is what I heard.
No, I think the NRA has
That's
that
what I
locked
heard.
down.
Oh yeah, they'll take
We're
my
safe, yeah.
they'll take my pistol fingers when they prune them off of my cold dead fingers.
When they
Right,
cut
right.
my hands off of my warm living body.
Yeah.
My cold done tooth ends. What?
I have a permit for mine, so it's okay.
So,
Concealed carry
Yeah,
license.
my concealed finger license.
Ben, do you
yeah.
feel comfortable explaining the original affluenza case?
Was this the kid in Dallas who was
Yeah.
selling drugs?
16-year-old
Yeah.
driving.
Well, and that's the thing too. I don't know that the psychiatrist ever actually used the word affluenza. I think that might have been something that
I thought it was media kind of.
right.
Sure.
Yeah, and
I thought it was the major defense.
also affluenza, as it's being used now, was not how that phrase or that word was initially defined.
Right.
The idea of affluenza was more that we have too much shit, and therefore we're in a. It's the persistent claim of sociologists everywhere that things are just we're just having it too good. And,
Yeah.
and that
Right.
leads to a sense of ennui, etc. No, I think-
But ultimately,
Affluence and influenza.
ultimately the guy who the
basically said-
defense guy was saying this kid did all these things, but he doesn't.
No,
he's
because
too
he-
rich to know to have been
No.
taught right from wrong.
because
Right.
his parents didn't teach him right from wrong.
Right,
Not because
right,
because his wealth gave him that. It's more that his parents were so permissive and neglectful that they basically let him get away with murder and manslaughter.
literally.
Manslaughter.
Manslaughter on a
in this
number of
case.
counts.
But,
yes.
and then a year beforehand he'd been caught like he was underage. Oh, he wasn't even old enough to drive, but it was like him and some like 13-year-old chick in a in the cab of a pickup truck. She's naked.
Yeah.
He's passed out.
that was the part that was really frustrating. I kept reading about an accident, him driving, and then it was the pickup truck, and then someone in the bed of the pickup truck, and it was like all of a sudden became a lot more violent.
Yeah.
Like
I think
the way it was played out in my head.
I think
you
the
know?
reason why it became such a big deal is because it's a very familiar story to anybody who grew up in America.
Oh, sure.
You're gonna
is one of the more tragic things I've
maybe
heard
you
this
grew,
week.
Our Irish listeners will not understand this.
maybe you grew up in suburbs in America. There's going to be a rich kid who gets away with everything.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
gets everything.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that might have been why. I mean,
See the series Veronica Mars.
which and I did look at the Kickstarter page for the movie, but I haven't seen the series.
On Tuesday, the Los Angeles Democrat, the Democrat himself is Mike Gatto.
Gato?
Gatto. It's two
Like
T's,
cat?
so I say
Oh.
Gatto.
Hey. Mind your P's and Q's way.
Introduce a bill. Way.
Mind your P's
Way
and
up.
Q's, Wero.
Possibly the first in the country that would prohibit attorneys from invoking effluence as a defense at trial or as a mitigating factor for sentencing.
Right, and I think that's that was actually I think that would be.
Well, it says there's no universally agreed upon definition for the term, which seems more metaphorical than medical.
Right.
AB
Which
1508,
it is.
he defines it as the notion that an affluent or overly permissive upbringing prevents a defendant from fully understanding the consequences of criminal action.
Which is actually amazing because we don't think that anybody who's actually who's sitting on the bench now had enough money to go through law school and have a great career as a prosecutor or defense attorney, and
sure.
actually was assigned to the bench. So they probably came up
Just
through,
on loans or
through
grants,
a little
yeah.
bit of affluence in their life,
Yeah.
and they probably don't agree with that notion. And I think it's basically a response to a political public outcry and it's grandstanding.
Oh, sure.
It's the same thing that would lead to a notion of mandatory minimums on cocaine sentencing. No, it's the exact same
It
instinct.
is the
because,
same.
because
yeah.
it is really up to the judge to decide if they want to accept that premise,
Right.
it to be admitted into sentencing, and maybe some of them, well,
Or the what was this?
some of them might, but at the same time, to say to put in law, you are not allowed to consider this information is wrong because it sets a bad precedent for other mitigating factors.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's
sure,
the reason
sure.
why I'm against the notion of that.
Right.
I think that
Giving too much carte blanche to be able to say, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that was actually that the kid getting what he got was actually was influenced by the affluenza argument.
Oh, sure,
Did the
sure.
judge, and of course the judge can't speak on the ruling, but the sentencing. But there are definitely issues of disparity that happen with children who don't have expensive representation,
Right.
getting sentenced as adults or getting much more than probation and counseling,
Right.
for far lesser crimes than that.
Right. Well,
And I think that's why the outrage comes
Teenager
from. But at the
received-
same time, I think making a law that says you cannot in any way use your own judicial discretion, which is the reason why they're judges, is that they have been
they've been vetted at least at some point to be able to determine what those terms mean. Yeah.
except in states
Well,
where the
except-
judges are elected,
I mean,
Right.
you have
like Louis Gohmert, by
you
the
have
way.
elected people who
Yeah.
get paid a decent amount of money to do their judging thing and would rather be golfing.
Well, I mean that's probably
Yeah, in my experience
there's-
with the criminal justice system, the judges that I've actually dealt with are not all
golfers.
right. I mean, some of them still do lacrosse.
Yeah.
'cause they're
Racquetball,
still
actually.
fit enough.
Majority of the
squat.
squat.
So far,
Squash, yeah.
all
Yeah.
of the judges I have had to deal with in any capacity whatsoever,
But even in civil courts mostly,
or
except-
magistrates,
Right.
which we still have here. How very English of us.
No, it's actually really funny because in Pennsylvania, in the townships,
Oh, yes.
or the unincorporated areas, still have magistrates. Yeah,
Yeah.
which are totally guys who used to be cops who get elected to which is actually the worst notion of criminal justice.
Yeah, I always got struck like.
But
they
God
just-
bless the
they
Commonwealth
would,
of Pennsylvania.
They would just like every one of them. It just struck me like they would just rather be doing something else, so they got really complacent with what they were doing.
Well, yeah, because you're not the first person to do anything you were doing there. Yeah.
Right.
I don't need to read any of these like 52 sheets of paperwork that you had to fill out.
52
twice.
shades of pepper. Yeah.
I don't need to read any.
That
of
is the hottest cookbook.
Yeah, I know. I know you did it wrong because I've been doing this for a while, and it's kind of like, well, we didn't do it. Okay, fine. I'll go pay $1,600 to a lawyer to fill out the exact same shit the exact same way, and then you'll not read that and let it all go through.
Well, no. Actually, it's like that. It's just a. Why do I have to argue about how the world works with you? Yeah, it's the notion is that anybody who's going to
doesn't work?
represent anybody who represents themselves is usually a crackpot and a hothead who is going to basically waste their time by going, Your Honor, If I may cite the case of Cletus versus Mavon, Flintstones episode 3.
This was actually this was actually a
On season 5 of Night Court,
Yeah.
Harry
No, no.
ruled.
A divorce proceeding, right? Yeah.
I saw this gambit, and and Bull, the bailiff, was much friendlier than this one. I mean,
the difference
Ergo,
is this.
per se, ipso facto.
no, it's, Marx Brothers, i.e., e.g. in wit to Lou, to wit in Lou. Pardon my Latin there, ladies and
It
gentlemen.
was a divorce in which me and the person I was divorcing spent a lot of time reading the very clear instructions on the paperwork provided by the court's website that we downloaded and printed out and filled out.
Oh my God! You went to LegalZoom?
No.
You did all that trouble to download?
Well, that's essentially what the judge said to him too. It was like, look, okay, you don't have a lawyer, so get out.
Yeah, I couldn't help but notice the judge didn't even look at any of the paperwork.
Well, because
he never leafed through it. He never looked at it. He just said, "You don't have a lawyer, so and there's a child involved, so I'm going to go ahead and deny you." I got a lawyer.
I think he was thinking of the child.
Yeah, great. I understand that, except that this was the most amicable possible. I would like a Lone Star. Yeah.
Privacy.
It was the most amicable version of it, and when I did get a lawyer,
Bushmills, please.
and the lawyer downloaded the exact same paperwork, and I sat with the lawyer and filled it out the exact same way we filled it out. Boom, done.
Lawyer's buddy too. I mean,
You know,
lawyers and judge buddy.
I know that if I represented myself, I would be in jail for a felony.
Well, I know. Your situation was slightly different.
felony proceeding.
I tend to trust the pros on this one. It's like I don't try dry cleaning at home either.
Well, you know what? All I know is I tend to trust people who actually take their fucking job seriously and do it when they're at their job, as opposed to just like, oh no, you're representing yourself. Can't even bother with it. You've already fucked up, even though we didn't
Ron Paul
fuck up.
2016, ladies and gentlemen. Ron Paul 2016.
Yes.
That's right.
No.
So,
I'm not dismissing you. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm just
yeah.
making fun of you.
Fuck them, and I'm going to burn the city down.
Well, I don't know if burning the city down will actually fix that.
I'll start with Houston.
No.
Does that make you feel better?
We'll start with
Whoa.
San Antonio. No one's going to miss
Start
this.
on the bay. There's a lot of refineries
Third
there.
coast.
Too much water.
That's right. It'll burn for a long time.
It'll
Oh
burn
no,
for a long time.
the water will burn.
And you know, and the oysters from that Gulf are not edible as it is. So
They're still delicious.
let's go to Parkside and get
Those
some
are-
fucking Gulf oysters.
Those are for
Pass.
Kashima.
Something else happened this week.
No. Let's finish the fucking Obama thing. I mean, what was your thoughts about that? Did you care about
I was going to do the segment 3 for that, so we can talk about it in further detail.
Okay.
Yeah, since we didn't actually talk about it.
Sorry, the fucking president
Back to Obama.
thing.
The Mr. President.
The
thing.
fucking the Mr. President
Well,
thing.
again, the curiosity there
Back to
was
El Presidente.
like what was actually changed
About what?
About what the NSA can or cannot do
Nothing.
with phones, metadata.
Nothing at all.
Like there was something that changed, but it wasn't.
Seems irrelevant
It wasn't
to
a
me.
lot. Was the real question?
You know,
like-
there's
I mean, they've been hiding it and lying about it for so long. It seems like any changes would be utterly irrelevant.
There's actually a really good book that came out about 4 years ago called Legacy of Ashes. Tim Weiner, who was the New York, and I could be wrong about his first name, is the intelligence community writer for the New York Times.
Anthony Weiner?
No. And we wouldn't associate intelligence and Anthony Weiner in the same.
Yeah, exactly.
the same paragraph.
That's why I wouldn't
Yeah.
download the book.
Or the same dictionary.
He's a Lancelot. He's a Lancelot of the Democratic Party. He loved his dick so much that he ruined the court.
That is actually that would be the same.
Carlos Danger.
If you want to mention that is beautiful, Carlos Danger.
Yeah.
Really
I mean,
is.
I mean, I think that I think the NCAA has actually stopped the idea of having Carlos Danger and Ron Mexico jerseys being made. Yeah,
That's a bummer.
yeah, it's a real bummer. Ron Mexico.
Ronald Mexico.
No, that goes back to the same kind of thing. I know this is totally off topic now, but Chris Christie,
It's all the same.
the same fucking thing. Like the arrogance there, like, oh yeah, I can get away with this.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm a giant fat bully.
Hey,
The
keep your thin privilege at the door. Okay.
yeah, the delusion of Weiner, like he.
I have wiener delusion a lot, actually.
You know what? I think Hebrew National are just fine. And
They are kosher.
ballpark, I'll accept too.
You're in the ballpark, yeah.
Ballpark. I'll accept also.
Hot dog's a hot dog,
Hot dogs are hot dogs.
and that is
Don't bitch about it.
no.
Go eat falafel otherwise.
That timing was impeccable.
It might be time to take another break. Let's take another break.
All right, I gotta go.
We'll be right back.
Break.
We're here to rock you.
You'll never believe what happens next.
Welcome back to the show.
Hey.
We are back here, still at Don C Park. We are urinated, and we are having a good time. I hope everyone else is also having a great time with us. So segment 3 normally would be about entertainment in general. But I was thinking, what are you consuming is the question. What the segment is, what are you consuming? What is the thing that you've poured more time than you probably should?
Well, I wouldn't say probably.
How much time the thing you've spent the most time in?
I wouldn't say probably should,
No,
because
get rid of that part because you're obviously splitting hairs.
Hey,
on
what's
that.
your guilty pleasure?
God, there's so many.
What's your favorite
No, I don't feel
No
guilty about
Doubt
anything.
song?
There isn't one.
What's your favorite Kenny Rogers movie?
All of them.
Six Pack. Six Pack.
Wrong. 6-pack.
The Gambler is an abomination.
You had Special
Period.
K and banana.
Sure. The Gambler is an abomination. It's Six Pack.
New Sherlock, of course.
Yeah.
But it's over already.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Helix.
What's Helix?
Helix is a show that Evan turned me on to.
Okay.
And I gave it a shot. And Frank, I'm kind of excited about more Helix episodes. It's Arctic-based science, super science lab where there's no restrictions, and of course something horribly shitty happens.
Like
So it's
Eureka?
The Thing.
It's kind of like The Thing. Well, it's got a little bit of The Thing and a little bit
Well, it's
of
got isolation is pretty key.
yeah, isolation, weird. Like
It's easier to shoot in on an island like Lost.
Right.
But
Man v Nature.
yeah, but I can see that
Right.
Isolation is key to those kinds of shows. Yeah.
But I've been enjoying it. So it's early on. It's only been there's been episodes 1 and 2 for the opener were both together, and then episode 3 came out.
Is it a serious show, a dramatic show?
It's dramatic and serious.
Well, it's on Sci-Fi.
Oh, it's a Siffy.
Yeah.
Is it?
Siffy.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. I pirate everything, so I really
Okay.
don't pay attention to where things are playing anymore.
Sci-fi's so weird. Warehouse 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which is great.
and
I like Warehouse 13.
But they have
but-
wrestling on Friday nights. What the fuck? Why is wrestling on Sci-Fi?
What were you going to say, Ben?
it just reminds me of I don't know how some shows manage to do it and other shows don't, but there's this weird cheesy kind of 1980s heart to heart kind of feel to shows like
Yeah.
Warehouse 13 and Eureka.
Yeah, Eureka.
Where it's
I kind of miss Eureka.
oh, I loved Eureka.
Yeah,
yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
But something about it is that it's just there are some shows that can do a dramatic situation like conflict. How do we solve this in a way that is not hokey or
Right.
Right.
it's just so hard to explain. I don't know what that formula is.
It's a sci-fi curse. Because Sharknado was actually, original scripts was very serious.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, it was based on scientific facts, obviously. You know?
Oh yeah, Bill McKibben had a lot to say about it, and I think it's there's one called the Last Detail, The Last Resort.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I watched it.
It was on
Last
ABC.
Resort. Yeah.
I didn't even know about it until I've been via Usenet trolling.
Until it was already canceled.
Yeah, Australian TV.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Australian TV sites, to see what's on tonight.
That's definitely been your thing recently, yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
And Last Resort was on it, and I watched one episode. I downloaded the entire season. I watched one episode. So is Andre Braugher, who can be good or bad, depending upon who's around him.
He's fantastic at Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes, he is. He is.
Yeah.
But he
Is that show good? Should
It's-
I
it's
bother
actually-
with that
it's
show?
actually funnier than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
and
me
it
too,
actually
yeah.
it stars
pretty
not
great.
stars, but Joe Latrulio, who's one of the guys from the
Yeah.
state, is on it, and
Yeah.
you never
Yeah.
get to see him. The last time I saw him was on it was on one of those Slim Jim ads with Sasquatch. wasn't that the one the Sasquatch
Probably.
with
That's
Slim
correct, yeah.
Jim, or was it some other
Yeah.
food stuff? Or
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
Sasquatch.
yeah.
Joe Latrulio
Messing with Bigfoot.
Right.
Yeah.
Was one of the members of the state, and he's rarely on. He wasn't on Reno 911 or Reno,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Reno
Yeah.
911.
Yeah.
and then he wasn't on Viva Variety or anything like that. But
He's great. He's great in the show.
He's
great in
great,
the
and
show.
on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he's hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'll
and it's
bother with it
I
then.
I was against the idea because I'm not a big big Sandberg fan. Although I do think Mark Wahlberg talks to animals is one of the most genius things that's ever happened in my
Yes,
life.
yes.
Like,
So how do your mom for me?
And the culmination of Mark Wahlberg showing up to
Chicken,
beat up
I'm
on
not fooling around. This could be a good, big deal for us.
beating up on Sandberg because he was upset. That whole little troll thing was actually pretty great, like how it was played out or whatever. Hey, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is awesome.
Yeah, it's actually better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, way better, way better. Yeah. Don't listen to Ben. Is the real? Don't listen to Ben Hampton. Is what I mean. Yeah.
This year I did a lot of that where I was.
I don't, because he's got terrible taste.
I just been grabbing shows to see if they'd be okay, and then I don't get around to watching them, and then so I end up having the entire season and going, oh, why did I get this?
We're going on this, but can I get a last chance?
2 shows that I've been watching that don't suck.
Yeah.
There's actually a show on ITV, which should be available, I think, on PBS soon, called The Bletchley Circle. It's set up around 4 women who used to work for the code breakers in World War II.
Okay.
And then it's set in the 1950s, like right 10 years after the war, and they. This woman is one of the code breakers. She's reading a paper and she discerns a pattern and figures out who a serial killer is. And it actually is pretty great. They all get They get the old gang back together.
Nice.
And it has this kind of like
From a doo-wop band.
it's on
Catch serial killers.
they're on their 2nd season or series right now. There's only the first one was only 3 episodes. This one's 4. This season's been pretty great. And then there's an Australian show called Mr. and Mrs. Murder, which is as bad as Heart to Heart, but it's fucking awesome. And,
Mr. and Mrs. Murder?
Yeah, it's on Australian, the Australian
Mr.
company,
and Mrs.
ABC.
Murder?
Mada, yeah, but it's actually very funny. They play it's a couple who clean up crime scenes, and then they always notice things that the cops miss, and then they and they actually,
Sheila, shake it out.
no,
Someone moved this trash can.
but it's played goofy. It's not played straight. It's played goofy, and the Mr. character of it is a blowhard who is his Bruce. Yeah. Wow. It's like
Bruce and Sheila.
His name's Bruce.
Let's play Australian TV Mad Libs. We're all gonna win.
Yeah, that's. It sounds like a common theme with the shows. Even really, really cool shows is like, that sounds awesome. Why haven't we done it yet? Oh, I know why they haven't done it yet. Because like that, I'd love that. I would love to see an actual version of that done by people who are doing it, because that's cheeky. It's silly. Yeah, Spike TV or sci-fi. Fuck it. Perfect for sci-fi.
Hey, TNN. Impostus
Mr. and Mr. Murder,
No, Mr. and Mrs. Murder, actually, the main character who is very much a blowhard who will always hold forth on things, and he's always wrong, and always obviously wrong. He's like, well, the hippo is actually a very early form of zebra, and he'll go, it's a little known fact, and then, but it's actually a very entertaining show.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been consuming. Is a lot of weird, not American mysteries, and they're all trash shows. They're all just trash, but they're great.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like with watching Hong Kong films, where they don't care about the plot making any sense, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
This whole thing was not important. No.
Right. It's
What's important is the people kicking each other.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but when they were just a breakthrough in the plot, or the conflict is resolved, it's like how.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we cut that scene out. That would have explained that.
Where they were all really happy that they resolved that conflict.
Yeah,
Right.
And that's like with I've noticed it with British shows and with British shows especially, they don't really care about whether that person is actually attractive. When the male lead is in love with this woman, it's like, would you be?
Yeah.
Would you be enthralled right now?
Would that
Well,
work
and
out?
that's also
that would
for-
not work
especially-
out.
That's also for a British crowd. Let's keep in mind too.
Oh yeah, they got different
Jesus.
standards.
Like I made the mistake of watching
lived
Love
through the
Actually,
Depression.
for example, and so you have
watched what?
Love Actually, and so Hugh Grant is the
it's
prime
a
minister.
Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie. It's,
The movie's awesome.
I like aside, Liam Neeson.
Dylan's face right now is
Liam Neeson and his son. That whole thing could have been an entire movie. That'd have been adorable. But it's the Hugh Grant and the ugly girl that he falls in love with, and I'm like, okay, I got to remember British girl. Like that girl is hot as hell. In that, okay, fine, okay. But that's going to be the heroine. That's going to be the lead.
That was intentional.
Yeah, that's intentional. That's the way they do things. But I didn't get it. whatever.
Has anybody else been watching Masters of Sex?
I watched the first season.
Well, I was going to
and
ask Dylan.
yeah.
I was going to
just
ask.
watched. The
I think it's a good show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no spoilers
you
for
want-
Dylan.
I was going to ask Dylan what he'd actually been
I
consuming
just
recently.
like seeing Lizzie Kaplan naked.
Yeah,
No, that's actually
why
where I
got
go.
into it.
Yeah.
You're
but
talking
I
about
was
Masters
actually
of Sex.
pleasantly
You're talking about the things
surprised.
you're actually consuming recently. That's the question.
No, we were just talking about Masters of Sex.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Lizzie Kaplan naked
like
is always
seeing Lizzie
fine.
Kaplan
steer it back to this
And actually-
segment and try to figure out what
Good-
you've been
there's a good
consuming
interview
recently,
here.
because
There's a
I'll
great
have
interview with
to,
her
I'll have to
about
edit
that.
everything out until I figure that out because I keep pointing at it. I like, Lizzie Kaplan's hot.
Yeah,
I agree. And
Great interview with her about that. She was
Great-
talking with
great
Paul F.
movies.
Tompkins on Speakeasy, his web thing. That she mentioned that, like, in True Blood, naked.
Yeah.
But you realize, like, that True Blood, that's the point. It's sex vampires.
Yep.
So you're gonna get naked,
Yes.
and then
Riverboat
she figured-
vampires,
Yeah. And well, the
That'd
reality
be a
of
great series.
Masters of Sex is gonna be a lot of nudity, and it's like, well, she's gonna have to get naked because that's what happened with Virginia Masters. So yeah, you're gonna have to get naked.
Yeah.
Virginia Johnson, sorry.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter. Lizzie Kaplan naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was doing the same thing that I was saying about the Blood Chase Lyrical, where it's like, oh, women, what do they know?
Yeah.
Oh, sports. Yeah.
It was, I mean, and sometimes you get-
Nylons and
I mean,
Yeah.
I think like
wasn't
Ironing
she on
boards.
Party Down?
yes,
Yes.
There she was.
Yes.
That's where I fell in love with her.
No, that's
Yeah.
that's where I first saw her, was Party Down, and she's awesome.
Such a great show.
That show really does.
She's great. Yeah.
I wish there was more of that.
I wish they'd make a movie.
Yeah.
That's actually when I fell back in
That's a
love
good
with Ken
Kickstarter
Marino.
option, really.
Yeah.
Ken Marino
Yeah,
is so brilliant. Well, definitely more on Children's Hospital, but
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
but so
On that
what
show,
was your
he's
take?
a wonderful, pathetic hero too, because everything he does is absolutely terrible. But then at the one point, like, he has this huge cock, and everything else is terrible. Like, constantly this poor bastard who has this huge cock. Oh, poor guy, huge cock.
So,
Marino.
did you watch any of Masters of Sex besides?
No.
Did you just fast forward it to Lizzie Kaplan?
Yeah,
part?
just that part.
yeah.
I think YouTube can just provide that, or
It's a good
RedTube,
show.
No,
or
not YouTube. It's
animated
the
GIFs.
Daily
Mr.
Motion.
GIFs, excuse me.
Daily Motion has no filters.
Right.
It is a good show if you're interested in any kind of drama.
Sure.
Show, I guess. I've enjoyed that.
Well, actually, that was one of the things I thought about. Was how do you, the hero being the guy, and I only know this man who played Bill Masters. I know him from this other.
I haven't seen him in anything.
No, he was in this thing that was with Dennis Quaid. Or is it Randy Quaid? Which one's the one who's not horrible to look at?
That'd be Dennis.
That'd be Dennis. Yeah.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid. Actually, Randy Quaid was in
Doesn't Dennis Quaid just kind of want to be the GoBots to Harrison Ford's Transformers?
Yes, that is correct.
Hey, he was in Enemy Mine with Louis Gossett Jr.
That's
and
true.
I think he fathered an alien child.
Thank
so
you.
shut up.
I think the audience should also understand that GoBots actually were first, but not in America. I think
There was
that's very
there was
important.
one about
So they were not first.
They
there was
were
there was
first in Japan.
this HBO show where like Dennis Quaid played Bill Clinton and that guy played Tony Blair.
Yeah.
And I think Josh Brolin played Bush. Maybe not. But
Well,
it was
actually,
but it was about Tony Blair's.
Sounds riveting.
Michael Sheen is the guy's name.
Michael Sheen,
He's
yes.
played Tony Blair like 3 or 4 different things.
Which is really funny because
He was also Wesley in 30 Rock.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Wesley Snipes.
no. He was Wesley. You're right. You're right.
Wesley Snipes. Yeah.
Gosh.
And he was also in the Underworld series.
One thing that I found funny was after watching Party Down,
Yep.
you know the really depressing writer guy who was hilarious?
Yep.
I later went back.
He's in a bunch
Martin
of
Starr.
bunch of weird
Martin
stuff.
Starr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaks and Geeks.
I
Yes.
later,
Yeah.
I had never
No, that-
seen Freaks
no, I
and
think
Geeks,
Freaks
and
and
then
Geeks first, yeah.
Netflix had Freaks and Geeks available for me to watch, and then I watched it and I fell in love with it, and
Yeah.
I thought it was really hilarious to see that guy, all those people younger.
You know,
The reality of Freaks and Geeks with Martin
can't-
Starr was that he had never done anything
I
before.
can't watch Freaks and Geeks.
I love it.
I don't know why.
God, I love that show.
It's too. I don't know if it's too dated.
Too close to home.
Too close to home. Yeah. No, I just like really what it is. It's
You know,
It's
I read about it when it was on.
not Jason
and
Segel. Crap. What's his name? From
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen. I can't see Seth Rogen in that character in Freaks and Geeks.
What's the thing, like-
he hasn't played that character in forever.
I
you
read
know?
about that show when it was on, and I didn't
Yeah.
pay attention to it because I found the name insulting. Like I just don't want to deal with
Appropriation, yeah.
this. Yeah, that's me. Hey, that's all the people I feel better than. Why are you doing this? But when I was about 5 years ago, it was on and I started watching it and I fell in love with it. And I learned about Martin Starr. Like he had never done anything before. There was an open casting
Well, it's not
call.
surprising. The motherfucker was like in middle school when it was happening.
And his mother brought him there, and they just liked his personality, And he's on NTSF
SVU, yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. Is
Yeah.
that good?
It's great.
I haven't
It's
seen it.
really
It looks
great.
fantastic.
It doesn't sound great.
It's a spin-off of Children's Hospital.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a joke
Yeah.
that they did it because
Was
Chil-
Eagle Heart also a spin-off of Children's Hospital, or is it the same kind of concept? Like,
You know what? I don't know.
yeah,
Because
Chrissy Elliott as
It's
Chuck
hard to-
Norris, basically.
it's hard to figure out.
Eagle Heart.
Oh no, it's great. Oh, no, it is great. The first episode of Eagle Heart will make you piss your pants. And the first,
nice.
the first minute of it will make you piss your pants because it's beautiful. And Chris Elliott is Chris Elliott. Always will.
Cabin Boy, man.
See, like,
Cabin Boy.
I've never seen Cabin Boy. And the
Oh
only-
my God,
I know.
what?
And
Dude.
like, what was his show?
Get a Life.
Get a Life.
Which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Like, I guess
There are two things in my life
I
that
was not, I guess, developed enough to be able to understand why that show was supposed to be funny at the time. The only episode I saw that I really liked was like an alternate dimension where stuff was happening, like the toast, and then there was machines, and I think Dalek showed up, like,
Oh, when he had
like,
when he had the time traveling toaster.
yeah, the
Right.
toaster. That's right.
Get a Life came on when I was young. Like,
It was like the Ben Stiller show too. It was like it was too weird.
I was told by friends that I should love the Ben Stiller show when it was happening.
Yeah.
And those friends were wrong.
They. Well, Bob Odenkirk was a writer. And
Yeah, he was right there. Yeah.
Actually,
That guy's
But
awesome.
I would say like, about Get a Life. I remember like I was like 15 years old, and I knew who Chris Elliott was from David Letterman.
Yeah.
And so I was reading the paper, the Daytona Beach News Journal, and it was
When you were
an article-
15, yeah.
No, there was like a little blurb, like one of those like what's on TV. Like it wasn't even like a write-up. It was seriously what's on, and it was the synopsis of Get a Life was 30-year-old newspaper boy lives at home. That was it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I laughed, I smirked and snorted at that so much that I was like, okay, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
fucking hilarious. And the only other time that ever happened to me was about 4 years later, Kingpin.
yeah.
Like no, seriously, the one sentence description of Kingpin.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I gotta watch this.
Yeah.
And and again, I had never seen Dumb and Dumber. I had no idea
Sure.
who the Farrelly brothers were at that
Right,
point.
right.
Like I was a poor teenager.
Well, Kingpin is far superior over Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, absolutely.
did anybody
But
watch-
it was much 'cause,
Absolutely
like,
disagree.
Oh,
I didn't like Kingpin. I really didn't like it.
I didn't
What?
like Kingpin
Bill
either.
Murray and Kingpin is the
Bill-
best thing
Bill
in the
Murray-
world.
It's Big Earn McCracken.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hi.
no, I agree.
Not
I agree.
you.
Bill Murray is great in
Hi.
that. Just like in The Big Lebowski, fucking.
Oh, he doesn't like bowling movies. I think it's
It's bowling movies,
yeah.
yeah. It's really just bowling movies, just in general.
Dude, that's why you don't like Slapshot.
Let's take our next break.
And scene.
Let's come back.
We're here to rock you.
It's actually Whitney Barbanter.
Whitney.
Sound, you hitting buck down. Sound, you hitting buck down. Bring the realness.
Welcome to the show. Hey, episode 69 has been fucking fantastic. Just like
been
69, I want to go ahead and give the
We've
search.
abandoned the third section.
Oh no, we already did the third section. Yeah.
It was all happening.
And
Those
you
already
were
happened.
here for it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
It,
was
it
talking.
did happen, yeah. Toast section. I want to go ahead and give a toast to Dylan's birthday.
That's right. I had one.
It was his 42nd birthday.
How old are you? You're younger than me still, aren't you?
No, I'm 42.
Hey, YOLO, dog.
Yeah, you're younger than me.
No, YOLO once. No, YOLO.
Cheers to that. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers all
Birthday,
around.
sir. Salute.
Slipping. Oh. Nothing like a warm last chance. Oh yeah. We go ahead.
Makes it easier.
Everyone being on the show. This has been fun. Dawn Zipa. We're going to do some after-hour stuff.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that I ruined it all.
You can. I'll edit that part out because you're great. I like having you on the show.
Yeah, it's fun when you're here.
Dude, I'm sorry about all my Nazi imagery that was,
You should be sorry for the Nazi imagery that you
As a
brought.
documentarian, no.
Well,
I
it makes me
want all of it.
comfortable. If you're going to
Yeah,
have me
of course.
podcast, I'm going to have these flags behind me.
It's
And,
the
it's
goggles.
just going to
Yeah,
work. Yeah,
The googlies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in my rider.
If you have any questions on the show, if you want
And
to check out more
only
about the
brown
show,
M&Ms. Yes.
you go to drunkcastlive.com. You go to drunkcastlive.com/ask. You go to twitter.com/drunkcastlive. You can go to facebook.com/drunkcastlive. You can also just Google drunkcastlive.com or drunkcastlive. Oh, actually, you can Google drunkcastlive.com if you're my mom.
If you could see how he's gesticulating.
I gesticulate a lot when I'm saying this because it's the easiest way for me to get it all out. We're on the iTunes store, we're in the Zune store. Come check us out, come listen, come subscribe, or don't do any of it. That's cool. We're going to have fun without you. Anyway, I want to thank Ben for being on the show.
Thanks, Ben.
Coming back and being on the show.
Drunkcast Live is brought to listeners like you.
And the letter L. I'd like to also thank Adam for hanging on the show.
You're most welcome, and thank you.
And I'd like to thank Dylan for helping me run the show. I'm Travis Goldorf, and I'm your host, and I really, really like you. Come back. Listen. See you next week.
Drunkcast.
What a feeling, what a nice move. We're here to rock you.
Drunkcast Live is a semi-portable podcast from Austin, Texas that records the show live with permission from bars and restaurants. Although they are kind enough to allow us on their property, the venue is not responsible for content or the opinion of any host or guest. If you'd like more information about the show or when and where we record, please check out facebook.com/drunkcastlive, twitter.com/drunkcastlive, or drunkcastlive.com.
What the deal is?
What are we talking about? What's going on, guys?
Witty Barbanter.
Witty?
No, we didn't say that.
Witty?
We just said Barbanter.
What the? Wait.